Echo, turn the desk on. Echo, turn the desk off. What do you think? Me and my son, we took the identity of a £1 trillion company and we turned it into a desk with a little more va-va-voom, shall we say. We did look online, very samey, a bit boring, overpriced. So we just went ahead and we built the desk that we wanted to build. So if you stick around for the next 15 minutes, you'll see how we got to the final product. 4 months of late nights and weekends. Was it worth it? Too right it was. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. The idea was still pretty much firmly planted in my old head. So we needed to really get some pen to paper, or keyboard to screen in this case. My son went off, used a software called Blender, and come back with some fantastic 3D plans. This list was the first of many. Some of the stuff I did already have in the workshop, but as you can tell, as the idea grew, so did the list. I think we'll put it down to artistic shopping. The leg was constructed with 18mm ply. The rest of the desk we used 12mm. Any thicker really would have been an overkill. The leg came in at 620mm wide by 700 high. We do have a CNC machine in the workshop, which does make projects like this possible. The NVIDIA eye was cut out with a 5mm lip, which will hose the mesh. We had to cut out 2, and then obviously clamp them together to keep the mesh in place. The mesh we found on Amazon for a small price of $19.99. Actually a universal car grill mesh, but hey, did the job well. The mesh was cut to fit the inner eye lip, trimmed off all the debris, fitted like a dream. This was the first of many 5m 5V strips we used across the desk. Thinking about it, I think we used 7 sets of the same. So if my maths is correct, then that's 35 meters of cob lighting. No wonder my electric bill has gone up. If you are choosing LED lights for something similar, then cob lighting is the way to go. Gives such a good beam of continuous light compared to standard LEDs. 3 main colours were black, blue and green carbon fibre furniture wrap. The leg was to be a combo of the black and the green, with the centre point being the lit NVIDIA eye. Now, out of inexperience, we did try and actually wrap the leg using the carbon fibre, but turned out way too difficult. So in the end, we did a compromise and we did a top coat of epoxy resin to give that lovely shine and protect the carbon fibre. A lot of wires had to be hidden. Don't ask me where the hell they are now, as I don't remember, but we were very lucky not to drill or cut into any of them while obviously constructing the leg. The centre of the eye itself actually took a full 5m set of cob lighting. We wanted to stay with 5V, which meant we had a limit on 5m runs, so good job the eye wasn't any bigger. With the epoxy, we needed some form of lip to prevent all of it just escaping off the side. So we returned to using an old friend of mine, Formica, as the edge banding. We found a perfect blue to match the carbon fibre, worked like a dream for the leg and the main desktop. The last part of the leg construction was the corner raised panels, which were raised and sat over the green cob lighting to give further dimension to the leg. 5mm ply was chosen, then black carbon fibre to cover, blue Formica edge banding and a top coat of high glass epoxy resin. All in all, I think the panels completed the leg's look down to a T, but then I am biased. And of course, don't forget the extra large lollipop sticks did come in very, very handy. We had to come up with a way to do the hexagon lights. We managed to luckily find a pre-ready file online for the CNC to cut pattern with ease. On the top first, then the bottom with a 5mm epoxy pour. It took 2 sets of blue cob lighting to weave the 53 hexagons, but it seems to work and looks amazing. Another blue set of cob lighting for around the edge of the desk, which we also linked to the edge of the leg also. First job for the top was to cut the 53 hexagon blue fibre shapes by hand, of course, and make sure they were a good fit. Only way was by hand, so it took me best part of a Saturday afternoon. Did look at a drag knife for the CNC machine, but coming in at £120 could not justify the expense for one single job. Last hexagon laid and both sets of lights worked. Hallelujah! The main carbon fibre was the biggest part to get right. We did have a slight change in design due to a mishap, but we'll leave that one out for now. Did have just enough blue carbon fibre to complete the design. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't have a light box or a jazzy big inkjet printer. For the lettering, I downloaded the NVIDIA font for free from the internet, then enlarged it in Word on my biggest monitor, and then traced it onto tracing paper using a pencil. Then rulered to make it symmetrical. Basic, I know, but works, and it's free. Same trick with the top of the desk as we used with the leg. Blue Formica edge banding to hold the epoxy. If you're wondering about the lollipop stick, perfect 1.5mm, which is the lip I needed. Some might say, why bother with the underneath? My answer is, I all know it's not being done. We had leftover carbon fibre and some unused lettering, so why not, I say. Think it turned out to be quite a good look and a filmable underneath. For the top epoxy pour, we are using glass cast 50-50 mix. We calculated by the area we would need 2.5 kilos for a decent pour, also giving me enough to have the raised clear lip on the desk edge. Left for 36 hours before taking up through the grits. Well, the question is, did I need to take it up through all the grits? In my opinion, yes. I wanted the glass-like finish, so I took the time and the effort to do it right. We went from 120 grit in the beginning all the way up to 800 grit. At what point we switched to wet sanding, then all the way up to 3000 grit. The 2 final stages we used were a 2-stage compound mix. First cut in, then the final for what would become the mirror finish. Yes, it did take the best part of an evening, but the outcome was worth it in my opinion, which hopefully shows in the final product. The finishing compounds were applied and buffed using a $12.99 car buffing kit from Amazon. Didn't see the point in shelling out a load of money on a resin buffer when a hand drill that everybody has in their workshop already does the job perfectly well. Originally we were going to put a large circle as an infinity mirror in the centre of the desk, but on reflection we decided after the top coat of epoxy was finished, the risk actually outweighed the look if the cut went wrong. So a little thought and the infinity plinth was born. Cut out 9 of the plinth shapes on the CNC and used wood glue to stack and clamp. Inserting the base mirror 3 sections in, ready for the top 2-way mirror. The 2 circle infinity mirrors and the centre plinth line use the same 2-metre RGB cob lighting strip, which has the most controllable effects. Another set of the blue cob lighting was used for the outer line and the underneath run, which gives a good illumination to the soundbar. We stayed on the same colour theme as the desk, so the plinth looked like it actually belonged. Also, we had just enough of the right amount of carbon fibre wrap left to luckily finish the top of the plinth. The blue Formica we bought for the edge banding was perfect for the outer hard exterior for the plinth, and we had to buy obviously a full sheet, so we did have plenty to use. Easy to bend and manipulate. Formica hid all the imperfections on the plinth and gave that seamless look we were after. The top and bottom Formica shapes were a continuous run cut out on the CNC, which meant no seams and a perfect smooth finish on the top and the bottom. We zip round with a handheld router with a flush bit to remove any extra Formica and give that lovely clean line. To finish off the top of the plinth, we used more epoxy resin. This time we went for Glass Cast 5030, which is a bit thicker and didn't need to be taken up to the grits for that mirror finish. And as you can see, a mirror finish is definitely what we got. The Infinity mirrors just needed the two-way mirror fitted on the top to give the effect. The surround is aluminium composite cut at 10mm wide. The surround and the two-way mirrors were stuck together and all held in place with Gorilla super glue. Turned out better than we ever expected. After 4 months of many a late night and spare time at the weekends, we finally got to installation day. Typical teenager's room, old PC setup which needed to be upgraded. The room we had was 3.5 by 3 meters, so by no means was a box room. First job was to clear the lot and make room for the new and improved desk PC setup. The walls in the room unfortunately did not have any stud work at all, just plasterboard dabbed with filler against brickwork. We had to use heavy duty plasterboard raw plugs plus no nails glue, which does form an extremely strong grip. Looking at the first batten, yes, it does look very skew with, but I do assure you it was just the camera angle as I had it balancing on a shoe. With the lack of stud work to screw to and the desk weighing in at approximately 45 kilos, we had to put 2 braces, one at each end of the horizontal battens to give extra strength. Everybody else had decided to go out for the day, so it was down to me to install the desk on me Todd. So apologies for the very sweaty t-shirt, that couldn't be helped. The desk fitted fine, with the legs slotting into position with ease. The final step was to cut a 60mm hole for the desk grommet. Avoided cables more by luck than by judgment. Desk completed and installed. Job done. Hope you like the desk as much as we do. Echo, turn the desk off. Thanks for watching, if you got this far that is. Please subscribe and leave a little comment.